So as we all know, this Sace Act, it's kind of a joke. It's a voter suppression bill disguised as a patriotic voter rights bill. It's supposed to make our elections more secure and more accurate and get rid of the fraud. Unfortunately, nobody's ever shown any proof of. The Republicans, led by Donald Trump, have been screaming about this voter fraud for over 10 years and never once came forth with any sort of viable evidence of anything. Matter of fact, what little bit of evidence has come out in the form of, phone calls and stuff like that has been Republicans doing the fraud. But, it is what it is, and they're going to continue to blab about it and try to push this Sace Act. Well, here's Senator Thom Tillis and what he thinks about the agenda.
Mr. President, these people are misleading you if they're telling you that this can be implemented by November. The only thing that will occur is an undermining of the election integrity, the integrity of our elections right now. So folks, from North Carolina, our state motto is Esse quam vadere, to be rather than to seem. This seems like a legit proposal, but it isn't. And it hasn't been for the last year because you couldn't have gotten it done with 10,000 election entities if we'd passed it last July. Let's stop the charade. Let's stop the distraction. Let's get the government funded. Let's use reconciliation if we need to, but let's not clog it up with another piece of policy airdropped by a member of this Senate or the White House that will undermine this bill, undermine what we need to get done before the election.
So as you can see there's some merit behind the things he's saying, but unfortunately, he's trying to make a plea to President Donald Trump, the one guy that's been screaming voter fraud from the top of the roofs forever, and probably the guy that's responsible for the most voter fraud. I mean, let's not forget the phone call to Georgia where he's looking for just under 12,000 votes. I mean, that alone is incriminating evidence of voter fraud, which has conveniently been forgotten and shuffled aside. But, there's not much you're going to do with the sitting president that was given immunity by the Supreme Court.
So, Mr. President, the fact is, we're not going to have 10,000 people doing things radically by Election Day. What we're going to do, if we continue down this path, is to convince the American people that you can't count on your election results. And that is dangerous. That is irresponsible. If you see voting improprieties in your state, report them. There are tools right now to investigate them. But don't further undermine the confidence of the American people by saying, my goodness, they can't get this implemented, the election must be invalid. That is not America that I signed up, that is not an America that anybody should sign up for.
And that last part he talked about is spot on. That's really what it's doing. It's pushing an agenda that's saying elections aren't secure. It's chasing fear into people, causing fear into people to make them think that this isn't fair, that it's not legal, that if any time their team doesn't win, it's because something's rigged. And that's a dangerous and slippery slope to walk on, Our elections have been pretty secure by all accounts and in any sort of investigations forever, and including the last election by Trump's own people called it the most secure election in United States history. But instead they push this agenda, and they do it so they can pass this bill and make it harder for people to vote. Do away with mail-in ballots, do away with some of the voter polling places. That makes it harder for people to get out, get to the places, and get their vote cast, because it's well known that when there's low voter turnout and low amount of votes, Republicans do better. And that's really all it's about.